Hey Jay, this is Ken calling from Raleigh, North Carolina again. I just wanted to say thank you for your response to my voicemail a couple weeks ago. I actually hadn't heard the term fragility used in that context, and that's exactly the word I was looking for. Ultimately, I did make the right choice and went for Hillary, especially being in North Carolina, being a swing state. And I recognize that this week in blackness was absolutely right. I think Donald Trump's going to get to each and every one of us, including straight white guys, but I am in a position of privilege. I will be one of the last people he gets to. So they were absolutely right. I just didn't like the way they argued it, and I wanted to elevate our discussion. In addition, I just listened to Friday's episode and heard the voicemail from Kiki asking about the immigration, like a progressive immigration policy. And I'm actually working on finishing a bachelor's degree in philosophy, and I just took an ethics and international affairs course that discussed briefly the immigration policy in the context of international affairs. And I don't know if I have an answer for him, but I learned a few things that I thought I could share that might help arm him and other listeners. The traditional conservative argument that we hear frequently against immigration is usually economic. The idea that immigrants, particularly illegal immigrants, come in and take jobs out of the economy for citizens. There is a liberal argument for immigration that says that they come in and they take jobs that citizens don't want to have, or that they come in and they spend money in our college institutions, get a better education, and generally we succeed when more people around us also succeed. But the biggest argument that I hear for immigration from the liberal side is that it's humanitarian grounds. And that argument doesn't seem to carry a whole lot of weight with conservatives. Conservatives are fine with humanitarian acts, and there's still the belief that you should help people. But generally, conservative values do seem to include the idea that you do it yourself and you help your own first. So there's this very closed-off approach to strangers, particularly people from other countries. The big thing that I pulled from the discussion of the class and the readings that I did for the class was there are other grounds that are not as frequently discussed. One of the most fascinating ones was the idea of, particularly in democracy, the people's ability to control the cultural destiny of the country. The idea is that if we had completely open borders, eventually our culture would not be what it is today. And that doesn't seem to get discussed very much, but I think it plays a large subconscious role in our discussions on immigration. It's not exactly racist, but it's the idea, if you've ever heard someone complain about Mexican immigrants moving in and they don't speak English, it's not that they're frustrated that they're having a difficult time communicating. It's the idea that they're concerned that the culture is changing. The same thing can be applied to LGBTQ, all sorts of issues that we face in America, and we sort of tiptoe around them. I wonder if a good way for progressives to direct the immigration question is to ask whether or not it's acceptable for us to steer our culture in such a way, or if we should let our culture develop more organically. At any rate, I thought it was something that Kiki and the other listeners could ponder on, the idea that maybe America doesn't want to change socially too much, or the idea that maybe we should, and we need to come up with good arguments why that should be the case. Thanks again for the show, Jay. Sorry it ran on a little long. Appreciate all you do, and thanks to all the listeners and their advice.